Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
We're getting into summer and I don't like it. It's too fucking hot.
What's the temperature up there?
What is it today? It was actually rainy over the weekend. Right now we're sitting at 68, but it was in the 80s all last week. So.
Oh, was it? High of 103 today. Shut up. it's 8 o'clock at night and it's 87 degrees. It's hot as fuck here. Boiling. All right. Obviously, the first thing we're going to talk about, which is the most important news going right now, Brad, I assume, because this is fucking obvious to me, that you're on Kendrick Lamar's side in this rap beef, right? This is obviously the most important news in politics. It's everywhere.
I read a primer on the beef last night. I still don't understand. I still don't understand what's going on.
Brad's number one question: who is Drake and who is Kendrick Lamar?
I've heard of both of them. I don't know who J. Cole is. That was news to me.
Okay.
So him I've never heard of. Apparently he's the third wheel in this rap beef. Yeah, I don't understand any of it. Like, is Drake having sex with underage girls? Like, what's going on?
That's a very good question. I think a lot of people would like to know. It's a little shady. Yeah, it is. In my opinion, I've been listening to rap music for quite some time, and I am no expert by any means, but this may be the greatest rap beef of all time. It's amazing.
Can you directly correlate this to a wrestling feud that I can latch onto to make me understand?
To put it in context, yeah, I would say this is peak. Like, do you remember I don't remember what WrestleMania it is, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the WrestleMania promo that they used, the fucking Limp Bizkit song, and it was a Stone Cold.
Oh, the Rock Austin WrestleMania 17. Okay, we're right on board.
Yeah. No, that's what it is. That's what it is. If they cut a promo of this rap beef, that's what it would be. And you were just like, even looking back at it now, it's like, that's a damn good promo, man. Like, you were like hyped for that shit. Like, at this point, these guys just have to, like, they should just put these guys in a room and film them just punching each other, because like Shawn Michaels did offer to let them settle their differences in a WWE ring, so I mean, there's that. I kind of want to see it at this point, even though Kendrick Lamar is a very tiny man. My money's on him. Still, like,
isn't Drake also like 5'7" or something stupid like that?
Relax on judging people on that. Okay, all right. I mean, if he is, I'm taller than him, but still.
I was like, you're like a giant compared to him.
That's right, Brad. Let's go with that. So I'm a giant amongst men. No, but it's a very good rap feud. All right, let's get into what is happening in politics for real. Look, the Judge Juan Merkin says that, listen, Trump, you have violated the gag order for the, I shit you not, 10th time.
That's right.
And I've had enough, right? Like, he has given this guy all the chances. I think he's given this guy 10 more chances than I would have given. I would have thrown your ass in jail the first time. I'd be like, knock it off. But I get it, right? Like, I understand the calculus here. It's a very serious lever to pull to put a former president in jail for any reason. I understand Trump's calculus, which is the Joker's fucking argument from, like, the Batman movies, like, hit me. I want you to hit me. I want to see you do it. Like you say you have a code, you say you're going to do it, but I don't think you're really going to do it, right? So he's pushing the pressure because he thinks politically, if he gets put in jail, he will get this swell of support, especially from his own people. But he thinks that maybe he can pull other people to him, right? Like, somehow, much like Stephen A. Smith, he thinks that black people will be like, oh my God, they're arresting Trump. Please, no, not our hero. And I'm like, I don't think that's how that's going to work.
Well, so here's the funny thing. So if Marshawn pulls the trigger on this, which I think he will do everything he can not to, you know what I mean? Because again, like, he understands that he's kind of feeding into something that Trump seems to want.
Sure.
even though I don't know that he actually wants it. Like, he doesn't. I think he'd like the street cred of going to jail without actually going to prison. Like, I think that's the thing. But interestingly, Marshawn, if he does find him in contempt and decide to punish him with jail time, does not have to jail him immediately. He can wait until the end of the trial, until after sentencing, to impose that penalty, which would be interesting because that would give Trump opportunity to continue committing contempt of court and potentially adding more and more time onto a potential prison sentence to go along with that.
Look, there's part of me that likes that idea, right? Like, and the court, the case is over. Now go to jail for 30 days, right? Like that would be very funny, but there is the other part of me that thinks that the reason we are here is because this guy has never been held accountable for anything, right?
Oh yeah,
100%. And I think that he doesn't believe that anyone will really do it, right? I think he thinks, yeah, you're gonna say this shit. Look, if you do, that's great for me, right? Like that's his thought process. But I don't think you're really, really gonna do it, right? Now, keep in mind, this is how serious this actually is. The Secret Service, I didn't talk about this last week, but the Secret Service is actually, it's been reported that they're working on protocols of how to protect him if he goes to jail. Like, they think that this is a very real possibility, right? They're not like, all right, no, they think it's a very real possibility. It's not like, I mean, let's get honest. It's not like they're sitting Trump in Gen Pop. He's not going to go to the scene of Oz on fucking HBO. Like, good luck, buddy. Like, they're not going to do that, right? That would be insane. I wish they would, but I'm not that lucky. But he's going to be in, like, some holding cell. He'd be totally alone. And whatever.
Like some segregated population area of whatever jail he's in.
Right. And it ain't going to be... He ain't going to be eating slop. They're going to give him like the best of the best food and everything else. Of course, they shouldn't, but they will, right?
I mean, look, I'm not a proponent of solitary confinement as punishment. It's very psychologically damaging, and they shouldn't do it to people. But if it's ever going to happen to anybody, I can think of no more appropriate punishment for this guy in particular than putting him in the hole, as it's colloquially known.
Right. I would be fine.
Court shows.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. But I do think I think his gamble is a misplaced one. I think that he thinks he'll get this swell of support. Look, you will from like your people, right? They're riding for you no matter what. Like that doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah, that is the problem. Is the average voter doesn't think that like the system is rigged against him. Like,
no, they don't.
Like they kind of trust the process a little bit.
Right. And that's where I think that's his miscalculation, right? This idea of like, well, once they see me go to jail, they'll know how fucked it is. Dude, you're on trial and people have been wanting you to go to jail. People are like, why is it taking so long? I think the idea of Trump going to jail makes people who don't like him excited. And I think if he goes to jail, even if it's temporary in this case, I think you are giving people a taste of what could be. And they are going to fucking go crazy. It's like you can't give Mike Lindell a little bit of crack and expect it to not be a thing that's going to make him be super excited. He's going to fucking love that shit again, right? So he's going to want to do it all the time. Like, because he's a crack addict. And he looks like he's back on it. Like, for real. Jesus Christ. But I'm quite serious about that. If you allow yourself to be arrested in this scenario, dude, you're not Martin Luther King. You're not Frank Sinatra. People aren't going to be like, oh, let's rally there. They're going to be like, hell yeah. We can get more of that? Fuck yeah. Let's all vote in 2024. Let's get this guy the fuck out of here and get these cases and get this guy in jail. I'm telling you, this is a bad calculation on his part. Yeah. He has not been able to expand the window of his support. His support window, as far as voters, is shrinking. They're more, concentrated and they're louder and everything else, but they're shrinking. And to double down on that and then go to jail for something that you did. They're not fucking around. You're violating a gag order. There is no argument that you're not. You are 100%. What you're going to do is you're going to get people excited to see you go to jail. That's a terrible idea.
Well, and Marshawn's also smarter than Trump, I think, is giving him credit for, because one of the things that Trump's been doing as he's doing these like courthouse, on the courthouse steps interviews, every time when he steps out of the courtroom, is he's talking about like, oh, like the judge is corrupt and he's trying to silence me with these gag orders and he's not going to let me testify and this, that, or the other thing, and go on and on. And apparently on Friday, I think it was, Marshawn was went in court and started the day with like, hey, by the way, he's like, I've heard you concerned that somehow like I'm going to bar you from testifying. I just want to make sure that you know, Mr. Trump, that it is your legal right to testify on your own behalf in this case. And if that's something you'd like to do, you absolutely have the right to do so. And I just want to make sure we're crystal clear that you have the right to testify on your own behalf if you so choose. Which he's obviously not, because why the fuck would you?
I wouldn't if I was him. If I was his
No.
lawyer, hell no, dude. Are you out of your mind? That would be the worst idea. So that tells me that's exactly what they're gonna do. Because it's so stupid. The guy can't stay focused. He can't stay focused. He's gonna get up there and be like,
I can definitely see him.
Paid the hush money, big deal.
Yeah, I can definitely see him as the type to be like, I don't think this is going well. I have to save myself from the shitty job my attorneys are doing. Mm-hmm. Let me on the stand. And his attorneys would be like, we're not letting you on the stand. And he'd be like, if you don't let me on the stand, I'm going to fire you and get new attorneys. And they're like, it's your fucking funeral, dude.
Look,
and that's where you'll get like the where the attorney will go up to the judge and like, hey, I just want on the record that we advised against this. So I don't want to be, charged later with ineffective counsel. We told him not to do this. He's fucking doing it. This is his ball game. So
we're not even going to stay in the courtroom while he's talking. We're just going to leave. For the love of God, we don't want to see this train wreck. Good. I hope that he does testify. And I want a transcript of it. Like I want a lovely, detailed, madness filled transcript of what he says, because he's not going to be able to keep it straight. He can't. And I'm telling you, his biggest issue always when he's talking about any sort of crimes or like behavior that's, sort of unbecoming, if you let him talk, he will talk himself right into a corner and he will confess it. He will confess it. That's the biggest thing, because he has like, it's weird, right? Like in a lot of ways, he doesn't feel guilt about anything, mm-hmm. but when you let him talk, you can see his guilty conscience. Like he's like, I gotta say it. Like, he's Colonel Jessup, right? He's like, I gotta tell them, like, these motherfuckers think that I didn't call the code red. Fuck them. I definitely called the code red. And I'm gonna tell them I did. And it's like, why am I being arrested for this? Like, you just admitted to a crime.
You committed a crime, buddy.
Like, it's his level of arrogance. Like, he feels he has to tell people. And I feel like I have to let him do that. Like, I don't give a shit. Go to jail, dude. Like, by all means. So I don't.
You weak in the country today, Alvin Bragg. That's all you did.
He's studying a Few Good Men right now. He's like, I'm gonna fucking nail this. Like, you are not gonna nail it. But yeah, I believe in you. I want him to do the whole thing. Like I want him to do the tirade of the way. Like Alvin Bragg, I'll rip off your skull and shit down your throat. Like, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. This is bullshit. Like, yeah, no. I need the whole, like, you need me on that wall. Like, you want me on that wall? You need me on, just do the whole thing, man. Just do the whole thing. But no, I think he's got a propensity to tell on himself. And I think the worst thing those lawyers could do is not have the ability to stop him. And the best thing that judge can do is go, please proceed. Like, just go ahead, dude. Yeah. Like, is the stenographer working? Cool. We're getting all this shit down. Great. Have at it. That way, look, don't get mad at me when you get found guilty. You said the shit. I didn't say anything. You said it. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to let him talk at all. Just fucking go for it. You big dum-dum. Like, all right, it's fine. You deserve it. All right, let's quickly go to the next story. Trump would be wise to follow the advice outside of the court too. You said.
Yeah. So, like, speaking of gag orders, he might want to consider implementing one for himself for his campaign as well. So he did an interview last week with Time Magazine, and his
interview, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, his thoughts after that interview were like, "I'm so happy that Time Magazine put me on the cover. That was so nice of them to do." I have to point out here as well that Time Magazine is not a physical magazine any longer. It's a digital magazine. So being on the cover, not really that big of a deal. It's not like you're on newsstands everywhere or anything like that. So okay, cool. I'm glad his vanity shone through. But the reason why it was a really bad idea for him to do this interview,
guys? Congratulations.
is because he went out of his way, and this is the part of the interview that's making the rounds, to basically say, "Hey, you should be thanking me for getting the judges in to overturn Roe versus Wade, because we gave it back to the states, and the states are doing a great job at doing what's right for the states, and everyone is really happy about it. And this was the coolest thing that could have possibly happened. And yeah, I'm fine if states want to start tracking women's pregnancies to make sure they can't get abortions, because it's up to the states." Like it's weird. Like because he is stupid and because he doesn't actually understand issues, all he can do is like program these phrases into his head. So whenever he's asked about abortion, all he ever says is, "Oh yeah, we left it up to the states. We left it up to the states." And then when he's pressed on specific things that the states are doing, all he can revert to is, "Well, we left it up to the states, and that's what everyone wanted." And I don't think it's ever been. I don't think it's ever been. Leaving it up to the states has never been more popular. And everyone's saying that.
He literally said in that interview that liberals were happy about this.
Yeah,
that's how. Yeah. Dude, where are you right now? Where are you? You're running in an election that abortion is going to be the number one issue. They are going to lay at your feet. I shouldn't even say it, not lay at your feet. Beat you over the head with. Yeah. Like, look, I know that there is this thought process that the Gaza protests and everything is going to be the biggest issue. No, it's not. It's not. And that doesn't take anything away from the importance of that issue at all. But no, it's not. And I'm saying that not because I don't think it's an important issue. I know Americans. Americans give a shit about foreign policy about as much as we give a shit about foreign policy, which is we don't. Right? We don't give a fuck about it. I've talked about this before. We don't really care about it. Because
it's not a motivating issue at the polls.
It never has been, unless we are engaged in a hot war somewhere. That is when it becomes something, because our troops are dying. Our like direct money is being spent, and I know people go, "Well, our money's being spent in Israel and Ukraine." Again, we don't give a shit about that. We don't really give a shit about it. We don't. What we care about, one side cares about using that as hay to throw on to Democrats, right? And say, "Oh, look at all this spending you're doing." But like, you guys give unlimited budgets to the military for international incursions all the time. You don't get.
I don't see you guys tightening up on the defense budget when it's time to cut spending. So
never, right? And by the way, I'm not just saying Republicans on the defense budget. Democrats too, right? They're equally as
but Democrats aren't the party that talks about needing to squeeze. You know what I mean?
Right. No, of course. No, yeah. but I'm just saying, like, Democrats sign on to this shit too, right? Like, there's never been a military budget that's gone down. Like, they're just keep cranking this shit through the moon, right? So, foreign policy is not a motivating factor. Like, ironically, Republicans think that, there's all these protests against, about Gaza and everything else. That's not going to be, like, dude, Americans have, like, here's how fucked up it is. Again, I'm not trying to downplay what's happening in Gaza, right? I really not. Or what's happening at the college campuses. Because, again, we talked about this last week. There's incredibly important stuff, which we support, right? Like, we actually support those protests. We support, Palestinians and sort of these innocent people that are being killed. Israelis as well, innocent Israelis. But here's the thing. Here's how I know that foreign policy is not a motivating factor. Americans have already stopped giving a fuck about what's actually happening in Gaza and are now focusing on the college protests. Why? Because that's at home. That's a more at home thing that they can like hone in on and say, hey, I have a problem with this, or hey, I support it. They've already forgotten about why the protests exist, right? So it's already shifted to what's happening stateside in the U.S. Oh, that's an easy thing to, the kids done bitching and complaining? All right, we're done. Okay, because guess what? Guess what happens soon? School's over. And guess what happens on college campuses? There's nobody there, right? There's not as many kids there, I should say. There's people there, but there's not as many kids. And those protests will die. They will not get the attention. They will not get the news of it. And that will die out from people's main attention. And that's only in a couple weeks, right? Like, this is not, it's not fucking October and we got like 6 months of this shit. It's dying out in a couple of weeks. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just telling you what the reality is. Once that dies out of the news, you got to go back to what? Pocketbook issues and issues that directly affect people's lives at home. And the thing that affects people's lives, the biggest issue, is women's rights. That's why these elections have been, all these special elections have been fought and lost by Republicans on that issue. Like, nobody's running on supporting Gaza. They're not running on that because ultimately Americans don't give a shit about it. And again, that doesn't mean I think that it's not important. It's just the reality of what politics is in the United States. They don't care.
Well, and you know what's funny? I completely forgotten about this clip, but I heard it played on a show recently, and this is going to get thrown back in Trump's face because during that first debate that he had with Biden in 2020, Biden was using the line that, you know, Roe versus Wade is on the ballot in this presidential election. And context is important here because this is before Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away and Republicans rammed in the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett to swing the majority. So it was still entirely possible at that time that, you know, whoever won that election would get to appoint one for sure and possibly a second Supreme Court seat with Roe in the balance. And I had forgotten that Trump vehemently was like you can't say that. Like, it's not on the ballot. How can you say it's on the ballot? Like, what are you talking about? This or the other thing. And really kind of went after that. And that's something you can throw right back in his face this time around. Like, you said, like, it's not on the ballot. What do you mean it's on the ballot? And then you got to appoint a sixth justice, and lo and behold, what happened? And now you're out here bragging about how you should, you know, you're the one that did it, and because of the great justices that you appointed, this happened because of you. Well, guess what? You get to own it now. Congratulations.
Uh-oh.
And I cannot wait to see him try to argue with a straight face that, like, oh no, actually everyone's really happy about this. Not just conservatives, but liberals are too. Like, everyone wanted it to go back to the states.
And look, here's the thing. I want you to do that. I really do. I want you to make that argument. I want you to do it in a debate. And this is the thing that I think people often miss about what's happening in this election cycle, the presidential election cycle. We haven't gotten to the crazy yet. Like this,
no.
This Time Magazine article, that's the jumping off point, right? Because there's been a lot of like bullshit or whatever, but that's the jumping off point. When these guys have to stand toe to toe, and it's like there are no more candidates, it's just these two. You're gonna have to watch TV and be like, they seem like both the same. This guy's like, I want to be a dictator on day one. That guy's the same as the other guy? Okay, yeah. I guess.
Well, and not only that, but just sticking with abortion, Trump's going out here like we're letting the states decide. Really? Then why are you talking about a 16-week federal abortion ban? Because you like even numbers better. 16 weeks, not 15 weeks. I thought it was all about the states. Oh, we got to have a minimum standard. Oh, we're not letting the states decide anymore? Oh, that's cool. So we moved right from, hey, let's let the states decide to, well, now we need a federal ban.
Because it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It won't stop. So, yeah, I want him to make that argument. I really do. I think it would be very helpful to people to go, oh, right, this guy is awful on this, and we shouldn't fuck around on it. And that's the biggest thing with Trump and why he is even close in the minds of people who are like, they're both the same, it's because you forgot how terrible he truly is. Yeah, you forgot how terrible he truly is. And when you see him on a debate stage, it's like, oh, that guy's policies are fucking insane. And me no want. And so I think, again, people often have this assumption that like all of these other issues are going to be the issue. No, abortion is going to be the issue. They tried to make it the economy. That didn't work. They tried to make it the border.
It still can be the economy. It still can be the economy because, again, Trump's out here talking about, like maybe 10% more tariffs, maybe 25% more tariffs. Trump's out here talking like, like maybe I want to be able to decide when interest rates go up.
Yo, that story is insane. We can't talk about that story. The story's insane. He's going to decide the interest rate? What the fuck kind of madness is that? Oh, well, crank it up. Lower it. Like, today? Why? I don't know.
I mean, and there was a story that just came out today that, like, and this story comes around every couple of years until Congress gets their shit together. But apparently, like, Social Security is going to run out of money in 10 years if Congress doesn't do something. So now that's going to be that's going to be a talking point in this campaign as well, even though these two guys will have nothing to fucking do with it, I'm sure. Yeah. But that's going to be a talking point now. It's like, hey, what are you going to do to protect Social Security and Medicare? Because it's going to run out of money in 10 years. So what do you do?
Take the cap off, dude. It's a simple solution. Just take the cap off and be done with this shit. How do we fund it? Just take the cap off. Like, it's just not that serious. It doesn't affect 99% of people in the country. Just take the fucking cap off and be done. Like, and what I mean by that, for people who are unaware, there is a cap in the amount of Social Security, the percentage of your check that's taxed that goes into Social Security, right? So whether you make $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, or $25 million a year, there's the same cap. Like, and it's not even. I don't even think it's like a percentage. Like,
it's a flat.
It's a flat number, and so it's like, but I make $25 million. Why is that the same as a guy who makes $50,000? It doesn't make any sense. So the idea is you just do a percentage, and then you basically uncap it so that if you make $25 million, you still got to pay the 0.5% or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big percentage.
It's not a big percentage.
It'll be minuscule. So.
Right, like, but of course you hear from Republicans, they're like, no, everyone should pay $50. It's like, well, that doesn't really make sense.
Another fun story that I heard today that's on the docket, but it still bears mentioning, and I feel like it might come up during this election race. For the first time ever, billionaires are paying a lower effective tax rate than working class people. For the first time in the history of this country.
Reasonable.
Yep.
And by the way, the current cap, in 2023 at least, the maximum limit of earning for withholding of Social Security tax is $160,200. The Social Security tax rate remains at 6.2%. So somebody who makes $50,000 is not paying $160,000, right? They're paying 6.2% of what they make goes into whatever that is. That's a Social Security tax. But if you make $25 million, you pay a 6.2%. But if it goes over $160,000, that's it. Like, that's all you pay. So it's not it's not progressive. Basically, it's basically progressive. So my point is, take the cap off. There is no maximum limit. It's just 6.2%. Sorry about your luck if you make $25 million. Again, not a lot of money for you. Like, it's not.
I think you can afford to give more. So
yes. So it's again, we could do things to help people, but we just don't. Which is weird. Is Dog the Bounty Hunter? Is that still on TV? Like,
I think that's a bit of a date. I think it's a dated reference.
Okay, could we do Noem
the Bounty the Dog Hunter?
Yeah, like Noem the Dog Killer. I don't know. Kristi Noem is. I don't know if I would say doubling down as much as like maybe tripling down.
No, but I'm saying she. I think she's exponentially, laying it down. I can't believe people are upset about this. What the fuck?
Are white
like,
people,
really? You can't? You can't?
Are white conservatives okay? Like for
I'm
real?
about to say, do not lump her into
I won't.
any group that I'm involved in. So
It's a pretty wide situation.
Yeah.
Michael Vick says hello. Anyway, sadly, this goes everywhere. Just terrible people. Kristi Noem suggests Biden's dog Commander should suffer a similar fate to Cricket, the dog she shot. By the way, that's a CNN headline. Jesus Christ. Really not bearing the lead there.
So Kristi Noem wrote a memoir because she's angling to be Trump's vice presidential choice. And part of the memoir that people latched onto for quite obvious reasons is an anecdote that she told about according to her, uncontrollable dog that she had on the farm that was killing livestock and was not trainable. And this dog was 14 months old. And so...
Wait, did it kill livestock?
Apparently. Apparently it killed like 2 cows or something. I don't know. According to her.
Okay, maybe she should put that dog down. That's insane. It killed 2 cows? How?
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows how dogs do this shit? But anyway...
Wow.
She tells a story about how, because this dog was so uncontrollable, she had to make the tough choice to chain this dog up in a gravel pit and fucking shoot it in the head and kill it. And she's shocked that the general public is upset by this story.
Okay, hold on. All right, I just want to clarify because I'm very confused. I don't think it killed 2 cows. That's insane.
Okay.
I'm like, if it killed 2 cows, that's a wolf, and you probably should put it.
It doesn't have to mean cows, right? It can mean any. It can mean any barney.
Right. So actually, it says Noem shot and killed Cricket. Why'd you name the dog Cricket if you're going to shoot in the head?
Why'd you mention the dog's name in the story? First, if you're going to tell the story, why have you given the dog an identity? What the fuck is wrong? You doing?
Weirdly humanized this dog. Yeah. Like, and this is Cricket, and I blew its fucking brains out. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
She killed a dog on some undisclosed date years ago for being bad at pheasant hunting and good at chicken hunting. The moral, Noem wrote, is that leaders deal with problems immediately. So it killed a couple of chickens and couldn't hunt pheasant. So she was like, I need to murder this dog.
So this tells me...
That seems a bit extreme to me.
So this tells me if she does become vice president and she has an aide who maybe doesn't do the parts of their job effectively, but they're good at other things, just chain them up outside the VP residence and
you gotta put that intern down.
Make the hard decisions.
Like
according to her.
I didn't want to do this. So she says that.
Do you imagine it's her as a fucking what's his face? From New Jackson.
Yeah, from like fucking Nino Brown. Like, boom, I had to do it. Like, Jesus Christ. So she decides that she's gonna go on the Sunday shows, and she's gonna mention that she would kill Joe Biden's dog.
That's in the book. That's at the end of the book.
Oh, it's in the book.
That's in the book too. Yeah, it's at the end of the book where I think she's wrapping stuff off, and she's like, "Hey," she's like. Here's the quote, and this is from an advanced copy of the book.
I thought that was from an interview.
No. This is from the book. I'm going to quote. What would I do if I was president on the first day in office in 2025? Thanks for asking. I happen to have a list. The first thing I do is make sure Joe Biden's dog was nowhere on the grounds. Parentheses. Hey, Commander, say hello to Cricket for me.
You could
what the fuck, man? You could have not said that.
You could have just left that all that shit in the parentheses. Yeah. You could have left that the fuck out.
Holy shit, man!
What is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? I'm gonna we've literally hit what I thought was an impossible level for being a Republican. If I'm elected, I will kill Joe Biden's dog. This is what your argument is for being elected? I'll put a bullet in a dog's head. I think maybe you need Prozac. I think there's something wrong with you. You need help. This is insane, right? Now, of course,
but again, that's how that shows you how fucking warped that whole political party is. That she thought putting this story in there, and the second part too, by the way, again, like the first story's bad enough. The addendum is just like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, the tripling down of insanity.
Right, like putting that story in the book would make her more appealable to voters. And again, I have to imagine not just Republican voters, but just voters in general. Because as you mentioned before, in order for Trump to win the presidency, he has to expand his voting bloc. He needs more people to vote for him that did not vote for him in 2020. I don't imagine putting Kristi the puppy killer on the ticket is going to do a lot to sway those people onto your side of the fence.
I don't know what she could have possibly been thinking. Like, people love dogs. Not everybody, Marga and Kristi Noem. Fucking the same person to me. People love dogs. Like, this is not a conservative thing. This is not a liberal thing. People love dogs. Whether you're conservative and you and your family got like a family dog, or you got a dog you take hunting, you've grown up with dogs, like that's a common thing. Liberal folks in cities have dogs, little fucking frou-frou dogs or pit bulls or whatever. They got the whole everything. Everybody runs the gamut of liking dogs. They're literally considered man's best friend. Why would you think that this story of you shooting a 14-month-old dog, not a story of like, I had to put my dog out of its misery, you know, and that's farm life. It's unfortunate, but sometimes you have to make the hard decisions. I'm not mad at that story. I'm like, it seems like a weird thing to kind of like weirdly brag about, but I'm not mad about it. Saying, well, I killed a couple of chickens, I had to fucking blow its head off. It's like, dude, you sound insane. But you're right. It's because your party is so insane that you thought, oh well, this will fucking get them all riled up. This is great. So, I think her time is done. I don't think she is going to. I don't think she is going to have a successful bid for the presidency. I really don't.
I mean, and again, like the funny thing is, like when she made the choice to go on Sunday shows after this story came out, and basically, like her argument, like when she was pressed on the story, they're like, "Hey, you shot a dog. Like, why do you think that's a good idea to be talked about?" She apparently like attacked like fake news for misrepresenting the story. And then was like, but yeah, I shot that fucking dog. Like, what the?
Yeah. like you said to me, it's like, she did the Rick James defense. Like, why are you saying that? So then I did it. Like, you know, what are you mad at me for? You wrote this shit. Like, you wrote it down. It's insane.
And narrated it.
And narrated the audiobook. Oh, my God. If only there was somebody who got a leaked copy of that. I almost wish people didn't jump the gun on the story and let this book be released. Because had it been released and then they'd have put this out, they'd have ran ads on that shit all day. And also, when you go on the news, it's really hard to be like, the mainstream media is taking my words out of context. Roll tape. It's like, and then I shot the dog in the head. Like, these are your words, Kristi. These are your words. Why are you leaving the studio? So it's insane, but it tells more about where the Republican Party is now. Now, in fairness to them, it's largely been seen as like, holy shit, this is nuts. We have to distance ourselves from her.
Again, so as I said to you earlier, when you're being criticized on the same show by Steve Bannon and Donald Trump Jr. for this story coming out, you know you fucked up.
Yeah, you absolutely ruin your chances for any sort of higher political office. And look, it may even hurt you running for re-election in South Dakota. I could totally see people being like, the dog killer lady? I'm like, I don't think so. That's just fucking wild to me. You are insane.
As you like to say, shutting the fuck up is free. Like, just don't tell that story.
You didn't have
Nobody would have ever known about it.
No. Did you? Oh, okay. Here's a second part to the story, which is really fucking funny. Do you remember the Mitt Romney dog story?
No, I don't. Not at all.
Perfect, because I didn't remember it either until I read it, and I was like, I do remember this now. Like how insane this was. They asked someone who was a dick, someone who clearly we align with. A reporter asked him like, "What did you think of the Kristi Noem story?" And Mitt Romney's response was, "That's a pretty bad story. Like my dog story was not great, but it's not that bad." So, which is what he said. So here's the Mitt Romney dog story if you don't remember. Mitt Romney and his family put their dog in a carrier on the roof of their car on a 12-hour drive on vacation. Oh, no. And they thought that somehow was cool. And people were like, what the fuck, dude? And he was like, oh, was I not supposed to do that? That's crazy.
Yeah,
hot dog meat is my favorite meat. So yeah,
holy shit! But he's right. Yeah, no, that's pretty bad, but not as bad as not as bad as at least you didn't take him out to a gravel pit.
Unfucking believable, man, unbelievable. All right, next up, House is set to vote to boot out Mike Johnson based on the Marjorie Taylor-Greene effort to push the motion to vacate vote. So Greene announced on Wednesday she would, in fact, move forward with forcing a vote on Johnson's removal this week, following through on the threat she first issued in late March. Greene has consistently attacked Johnson for advancing bills that have attracted widespread bipartisan support. What an asshole. Such as the government spending proposal approved in March and the foreign aid package signed into law last month. Quote, Mike Johnson is giving Democrats everything they want. I think every member of Congress needs to take that vote and let the chips fall where they may. And so next week, I'm going to be calling this motion to vacate. Now, here's the thing. Couple of like bits of reality. This is going to fail, right? Mm-hmm. Because Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats have already said, look, we're going to save the speaker. We don't want to throw the House into chaos. For the second time in like 7 months. I don't think they should do that. I think they should absolutely let this shit blow up in their face. That's what I would do, especially if I had a chance to become speaker. Hakeem Jeffries, you got to learn one simple lesson. You don't get in the way of your enemy while they're kicking their own ass, right? Like when they're screwing up. You just let them do it. Like, what could we do? What could we do? So they are going to save Mike Johnson just because they actually give a fuck about letting the government run properly, right? Suckers. And
nerds.
Fucking nerds. Oh, we want government to work. Dickheads. So it's going to fail, right? Mike Johnson is not going to be kicked out as speaker. However, Marjorie Taylor-Greene and these other like psycho Republicans who want to push this, the Freedom Caucus people, they get a win out of this too, right? Because they get to put this up. They don't actually cause any real chaos, so they don't have to pay for the sort of political fallout of that. They get a bunch of news over it, right? They get to be on the news all the time. And Marjorie Taylor-Greene has this weird thought process that when Democrats see that Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats in the House saved Mike Johnson, they're going to be mad at them and somehow like move support to Republicans or be super angry and maybe not vote, something like that. And I'm like,
it's not a surprise. Like
they've already
Hakeem
announced
Jeffries
it.
is like, yeah, like this is what's going to happen. I'm not forcing anyone in the Democratic caucus to vote this way, but this is what the leadership plan is to do. Is we don't want to, like you said, they don't want to create more chaos. We got shit to get done.
Right.
So let's not fuck around. Now, if I were him, and again, I don't know how public this stuff is, I would be getting a fuck ton of concessions out of Mike Johnson for saving his sorry ass. I would make sure that he's putting stuff on the floor that you really want to at least get a vote on, if not passed entirely.
Yep.
Because again, like if you think this is the last time the Freedom Caucus is going to probably try to go after Mike Johnson for doing normal government shit, even if he does survive, you're sadly mistaken. Because the next time he does something stupid, they'll try to wave this over him again. I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't. It would be shocking if they didn't, right?
Yeah.
But there's the other thing about this, which is the reason Mike Johnson is going to Democrats and trying to get these bills passed and things like that is the Freedom Caucus's fault. They don't want to do anything. And so because they don't want to do anything, they are forcing his hand that he has to work with somebody who's reasonable. And the only people who are reasonable are the adults in the room, the Democrats, who go, yeah, we'll work with you to, we'll get some concessions. We'll give you some concessions.
To fund the government.
Yeah, and we'll try to keep the government open, right? So, ironically, Marjorie Taylor-Greene and the rest of these Freedom Caucus Republicans are bitching and complaining about Mike Johnson working with Democrats. But Mike Johnson is only working with the Democrats because you guys cause these sort of stalemates on your side that disallow him to make any progress as the Speaker of the House. It's actually your fault.
From the Freedom Caucus standpoint, though, I don't know. I don't think you're advantaging yourself in any way, because either you withhold doing this vote, in which case you just look like idiots, or you have the vote and you prove that you're not effective and that the support isn't in your caucus to remove this guy, which makes you look like idiots. Either way, you're going to look like idiots at the end of the day. So
that is correct.
Yeah.
Look, I'm fine.
And all you're potentially doing is hanging out your frontline members to dry.
That is correct.
In a general election, or perhaps a primary election, because all the primaries are not yet over either. And maybe that's the point, honestly. Maybe that's the point, is to get more MAGA blood into to win some of these primaries in some of these close districts, which is a terrible idea, because if it's a purple district, a MAGA candidate is not fucking winning that election in a general. Sorry. Like, that's not how that works. But I don't know.
I think you are being incredibly kind in using
more credit than we deserve for
this stuff. I think you're being nuanced and giving intelligent thought processes. I think it's more like unga bunga, me no like new speaker. Like I'm telling you, I don't think it's that fucking complex.
You're probably right.
I think it is just this idea that she wants to look tough, and I think she's walked herself into a bad corner, right? Because she like, I think they got a little bit of that, like they got a little bit of juice when they kicked what's his face out, Kevin McCarthy.
She was against that.
No, I know.
She voted to save McCarthy.
No, I know.
Like,
I understand it. But I'm saying the Freedom Caucus got a little bit of juice out of it. They're like, ooh, we can run this shit. Right?
We actually run the House. Like, no,
right.
You succeeded on this one fucking thing.
Right. And it's mostly because, like, the one
Democrats
guy and because, like, the one guy who pushed it, he got mad because you wouldn't knock down his pedophilic behaviors, right? Like, you wouldn't stand up for him. So I think they got a little bit of juice from that, and I think they feel like, oh, we could, like, make this happen. But in reality, you can't. And now they painted themselves into this corner. They've been talking all this big shit. Like, I sent you that Axios article where Mike Johnson, they were like, oh, what do you think about Marjorie Taylor-Greene? And he was like, I don't think about her at all. And I'm like, damn, son. Like, you're just gonna let him talk about you like that? Like, he literally put that out there to be like, I fucking dare you to do it. Because when she does it and she loses, it strips her from power. It strips power from her. Like, it does. Mm-hmm. And she's going to have a little bit more power. But she's stuck. Because either you look like a chump who said a bunch of bullshit that you couldn't back it up, or you're going to put the shit out there and you're going to lose and you're going to look like a chump and you're going to be powerless. So it's better to keep to your word and lose than it is to not do anything.
It is crazy how much airtime backbench Congress people are getting in this day and age. Like mm-hmm. 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, but like 15 years ago, you would not even have heard of Marjorie Taylor-Greene.
No.
Like, she would have been some wacko crackpot that you never heard from because social media wasn't a thing. And she didn't have a specific platform to go out there and spout her crazy bullshit.
100%.
But now we have to talk about her every fucking week, because even though she's not an effective legislator, she gets a lot of fucking press. So,
yuck. Just yuck. I do not want, but I am very, very interested to see what the fallout is. Like, how do they manage this once it comes out and it fails? Like,
I know
do
the
they
Freedom
just
Caucus
basically
line is
push her
gonna be.
to the side and just be done with it? I would be.
No, like unfortunately for her, she still gets to kind of remain status quo because her line and the line of all the other people that vote in support would be like, oh look, like he is in line with the Democrats. That's why they saved him. Like this, that, or the other thing, and they get to keep talking about the same dumb bullshit and threaten to do it again. And
Look,
I guess Mike Johnson doesn't appear to respond to those
shit.
threats, and just like, yeah, I'm just gonna fucking still pass legislation that needs to be passed. Like I don't understand why you don't understand I have a job to do, and we'll do this dance again, probably closer to the election,
which is crazy.
which again doesn't serve them either. So
Look,
again, I don't understand the value that they see in creating chaos. That's the part that befuddles me, because again, your average voter doesn't like that shit. They don't like, because they already, your average voter already assume that government doesn't work and that
right.
and that they fuck up all the time. They're lazy and they don't get shit done. The last thing you need to do is progress that thought by doing more things that cause chaos to ensure that things don't get done.
Okay. I disagree. I think, well, let me rephrase that. Yes, you are correct as far as that is what they're doing. They're expanding the notion of government sucks and it doesn't work and they get nothing done. That's the point, right? It's the same thing Republicans do in general. Look how bad the government is, elect us, and we're going to prove it to you, right? And then people just go, it all sucks, right? It's a Russian tactic, ironically, to see everything is corrupt, everything is bad, stop caring. Don't worry about voting. Don't worry about voting. We'll put other people in. They're all corrupt anyway, but they're corrupt on all sides. They're all lazy on all sides. So don't think about it, right? And that just allows more fucking plutocrats and kleptocrats into politics, and then they just rob the country blind because everyone's like, they're all corrupt anyway. So I don't know that they necessarily have that plan, but ultimately that's what it ends up being, right? Which is it's just a bunch of useless fucking politicians who can't do anything, and that's what they want, right? They want to.
But again, they're hamstringing their own party's ability, though, because it's not them that are gonna. It's not the Freedom Caucus people that are going to pay the price. All those guys are in very safe, like R+30 districts that they don't. All they have to do is worry about winning a primary. They don't need to win a general. The people that are going to suffer are the people that are in their fucking party, but are in districts that Biden won in 2020, but they somehow, clawed back in 2022. And now they're running in a presidential year, with a very unpopular candidate at the top of the ticket in their party as well. You're fucking yourself. And again, we've talked about it before. To some extent, I think that secretly a lot of Republicans like that because they don't like to be the people in charge. They like to be the people that yell at the people in charge and don't have to actually do anything. So
they're political bomb throwers, dude. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
They don't, and that's all Marjorie Taylor-Greene and the rest of these Freedom Caucus people are. I think, and I said this a couple of weeks ago. You and I both talked about this. I think they would love for Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats to be in charge. I think they would love it. As much as they're like, let the chips fall where they may. That's an insane political statement to make. Like, I don't care if we lose the majority. Why do you feel that way? It doesn't become easier for you. You don't get your things passed at that point. It makes things harder. I think they want it because they want to play fucking defense. They don't like playing offense. Offense for them is boring. It's way more, defense is boring to them. They just want to play offense. They just want to attack. That's it. There's nothing interesting about, like, we got to defend these bills. We got to defend our record. That's fucking boring. We're not fucking nerds. We're the jocks, and jocks want to attack, right? We're going to throw the ball down the field. That's what they want to do. And so it is so much easier for them to just take the stance of attack, because attacking is destroying something. They don't know how to build anything. And once, God forbid, they step into power and something is already built, they barely know how to defend it. And they're not interested in that. And I honestly think she would feel so much better being on the side that gets to scream, "You lie," and all sorts of stuff. She loves that. You think
I wonder what
she's probably more excited about a Biden presidency than a Trump presidency, if we're being honest.
I wonder what her ultimate goal is, because she is certainly positioning herself as somebody,
look at me,
who has bigger aspirations than the House.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder what it is. Like, do you think she runs for governor in Georgia in 26 when Kemp is termed out?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I could see her trying to run for president.
Okay, good luck with that.
Look, Americans have goldfish brains, dude. They do. They don't remember shit, right? They really don't.
I mean, you may not remember shit, but she's also uniquely stupid and would not perform well in a debate against serious candidates. Even on the Republican side, she would get sniffed out pretty quick. She would be like another Sarah Palin, basically.
Look, I'm not saying that she's an intellectual powerhouse. She is not. Again, she put a story about her shooting a dog in the head in a book that she read.
And she's a leg up there. So
pretty fucking smart up there. But I do think that I could see the arrogance of her thinking, "Oh, I could beat Gavin Newsom." Okay. If I'm a Republican, dude, I don't even bother stepping into that race.
If you make it there, because I'm sorry, I think if Trump loses in this year, when you go to have the 2028 Republican primary, there are going to be a slew of regular ass candidates that any MAGA people that try to run in that primary be like, guys, like, we just spent the last two presidential elections getting the shit kicked out of us because we nominated Trump. Do you really want to go down with Trump light over here? Like, do you really want to fucking go down this road again so we can get our teeth fucking kicked in again by Democrats?
Look, I hope they do. Like, I hope they don't learn the lesson.
Yeah.
I'd like to think the Republican Party will, if Trump loses, they will have that come to Jesus meeting that they were supposed to have in 2016. What the fuck are we doing right now? But at the same time,
I don't know, that rot, that blight is fucking entrenched now.
It is, and I think you've seated the RNC. I don't know if you saw, like, the chairman of the RNC.
I did.
Resigned.
No, their general counsel.
Lawyer. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Their top lawyer. Like, he just resigned. And they're like, well, he had, like, time commitments. I'm like, sure, that's what it was. Okay. Sure.
It could be because Trump appointed his basically forced his daughter-in-law into the chair position.
And
Trump
be
the reason why.
Right, and Trump hated this guy too, right? So there was all this pressure. I think even if Trump loses, they're not going to let go grip on that party. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think if he loses, he's still going to have court cases and all this other shit. He's still going to be this cult of personality. He will lose grip on that party when he dies. I'm telling you. I don't even
know if it stops then, honestly.
What, with his kids and everything?
Well, but just the acolytes that he's bred into the party in general.
Yeah. I think Republicans are, absolutely. I think Republicans are really going to have to work hard. Like regular Republicans, not MAGA Republicans, but I think regular fucking just corporate D-bag Republicans, like 1980s Ronald Reagan type Republicans, are going to have to work really hard to purge that party of these lunatics, and it's going to be difficult because somebody's going to want to step up to be the next Trump. Ron DeSantis tried it, but they were trying to do it while Trump was still around. That's impossible.
I don't know, man. I wonder if Trump has accidentally done the same thing that he's done with every other every other business he's involved himself in, where he's tainted the brand. It might literally take a lot of those guys. And again, like, we say this sometimes, and it can't really happen because of how America's set up. But if there was ever going to be a legitimate third political party in the U.S., it would be the normie Republicans splitting off, because that party brand is tainted now at this point.
It is, and I don't know how you get away from it. You're absolutely right. So look, good. Like,
bring
if
bring back the wigs.
Yeah, the return of the wigs. I don't know. And the thing is, where are they going to go? Are you split off a party? Then you're politically dead, right? You're politically dead in the water. What, you join back up with the MAGA people?
It depends on how. It depends on how much of a coalition you can pull together. Because if you can literally, and this would be difficult and very hard to organize, which makes me think they can't do it. But if you could literally excise just the MAGA wing of your party and actually have a big cohesive block, you can easily pull in some moderate Democrats who are not really feeling the progressive side of the party too much, and that makes them kind of feel weird. And they'd love to have a legitimate, like, more centrist party to kind of go to, like that. Like I could see that happening, but again, it would take a lot of coordination and effort to make that happen. So that's the tricky part, because it has to be from the top on down. It has to be federal level, state level, local level. Like it has to be all the way through.
And the problem is, and I hate to say this, the state level Republicans are the biggest MAGA psychos. Like, they really are. So I don't think you get a buy-in. But I want to see you try. Because you're going to lose. And the thing is, you have to be willing to lose. And this is the real reason it's never happened. You have to be willing to lose political power for a while as you build this up. And not like 4 years, not 8, like 16 years.
Like a generation.
Like a generation where people are just like, those guys aren't going to do shit. But over time, people are like, oh, the fucking no labels party or whatever fucking horseshit, or, wigs 2.0. They're making a lot of good points. And then people slowly move and you build up a base, right? Enough to negotiate with other parties and get them on board and stuff like that. But that you've got to be willing to lose like 20 years of power. And there's no fucking way Republicans are willing to tank everything for 20 years. I'd love to see them do it. But the only way it would work is if somehow you got an agreement from like the most liberal side of the Democratic Party to also break away. And be like, all right, why don't you guys break away and we'll break away and we can like even the shit up. But if I'm a Democrat, I'm like, you guys are breaking up? Yeah, we'll break up. You guys break up first. Oh, you broke up. We're going to stay together. We're going to stay together. And we're going to crush you in every fucking election for the next 20 years and get real progressive shit done. So I just don't see that happening. But again, I'd love to see you try. Like, I really, really fucking would. Bernie Sanders is running for another term as Vermont's senator at the ripe age of 82 years old. Now, if folks don't know, a senator is in office for 6 years. So he would be 88 years old.
He would outlast Joe Biden as president in the presidency.
Yes. Now, Brad, how are you going to be a hypocrite about this? Or
Absolutely not.
You're gonna stick to your your hate of old people.
I would love for Bernie Sanders to explain to me how him being around for another 6 years is going to be important for the balance of the Senate, considering that in a presidential election year, it is highly likely that Vermont would elect a Democratic senator to replace him anyway. I'd like to know
isn't Vermont's governor a Republican?
He is, but that's like an exception to the rule, kind of with them. They like I said, that's like a Larry Hogan-esque, candidate, I guess.
Okay.
So, but again, it's a presidential election year. Like, if it was a midterm year, maybe you don't take that risk, but it's a presidential election year. Like, this is where you get the most turnout for your party. And Vermont, when they have turnout, is a Democratic state. So I would love for Bernie Sanders to explain to me what specific aspect he's going to bring to the Senate that a different Democrat from Vermont would not be able to bring. Because I'm sure there's other progressive Democrats, maybe not as progressive as Bernie Sanders. And actually, it's not even fair because Bernie Sanders technically isn't a Democrat either in Vermont, if we're getting technical about it. But all Bernie Sanders is often, and I like Bernie Sanders, so like what I'm about to say is going to sound critical, but just understand, like I like him as a politician, and I like a lot of things he stands for. Bernie Sanders oftentimes is the left wing version of Rand Paul. Like he's oftentimes a contrarian vote just for the sake of being contrarian because he wants to send a message, because it's something that because he doesn't agree with the whole, the whole shebang on. He generally votes for the stuff that he should vote for. He unlike Rand Paul, he's actually brought and advanced bills that have gotten passed on the floor and actually gotten things accomplished. So I'll give him credit for that. But also Bernie Sanders is someone who it can still influence politics from outside the seat of power in a unique way that most other politicians can't, because he has a certain, because we just refer to Trump about this in a derogatory way. This is going to sound derogatory, but it's not in his case. He has a certain cult of personality around him that he speaks to issues. 100%. Yeah, that he speaks to issues in a way that people really enjoy, and make it easy for him to get behind. But no, he absolutely shouldn't be fucking running for Senate again. Are you crazy? Come on. I mean, and again, like, I'm consistent that Joe Biden, if I had my druthers, shouldn't be running for president again either. He is, because he decided to do that, and he's the incumbent, so of course he's going to win. But I'd love Gavin Newsom to be running for president right now. Are you kidding me?
Wow, Brad, your hate of old people, it's really on display here.
Yeah, well,
get out of here.
But I'll say what I told you and Andy earlier today, and that if Bernie is going to run again, then he needs to go full bore into this. So I told you and Andy, like, if this is going to happen, and it is, he's going to win. Not only do I want him to win his reelection, I want him to survive the entire term so that he can run again in 2030 and go full Grassley on the Democratic side of the Senate,
tweeting out complete nonsense. The letter A.
Yeah. I'm gonna run for another 6-year term at 89 years old.
Yeah.
What? What the fuck?
I'm gonna be here forever,
and I won.
Yeah, my dead fucking corpse will be there.
Yeah, die in the chamber. That's what I literally want to see happen if you're gonna do this, Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders #DieInChamber 2024. Like, hell yeah, let's fucking do this. Let's ride, Bernie. Look, I like Bernie fine. I think it is just incredibly hypocritical that I saw a bunch of people.
People are hypocritical. He's not. Like, to be fair to him, he has never once.
Oh no! I know
said anything derogatory about Biden's age.
How could he? He's old. Yeah, right. Look at this old motherfucker. Like, dude, mirror. Like, take a look.
Correct.
Look at you.
Correct.
You are an old crotchety Jewish man. I love you, but like, relax. You are 2 days away from being Larry David in actuality. Okay. So I think people are incredibly hypocritical because you made this big hay about how old Biden is. Biden. He's going to be 1,000,000 years old, everything else. Bernie Sanders is 82. But, he's running around. He's got so much vigor. Don't do that. Is it his age or is it not his age? Oh, he's super intelligent and everything else. Again, is it his age or is it not his age? Because people can go into cognitive decline quite quickly. Yeah. Mitch McConnell is a prime example of that. You may not like Mitch McConnell. We don't. But Mitch McConnell is an incredibly smart person, and then his brain was just like, I'm done here. Right? It just froze the fuck up.
Rebooting.
Right? And that was all of a sudden. Right? He weirdly had that black hand for a while, and then his brain just stopped functioning, just randomly. That can happen when you're in your 80s, right? And I don't think Mitch McConnell is as old as Bernie Sanders is. I'll have to look.
No, he's younger. Yeah, he is younger.
So
Mitch McConnell's 81, I believe, right now.
Jesus Christ, he's too fucking old. But the point being, don't just hold. Oof, scary, dude. No, he's 82. He is just as old as Bernie Sanders, and he shouldn't be in the Senate, and neither should Bernie. Okay, so like it's time to retire. This is the time where when it came out, hey, you're up for re-election. Are you going to run for re-election? No. Here's the guy I support, or here's the woman I support. Some super progressive person in Vermont. I'm sure you can find one. Just pick up a rock and fucking throw it at a snow slope, and you could find a super progressive Vermont citizen to take your place. If you come out and you say, I'm voting for this person, that person will get elected to your seat. It's not that fucking hard. But you shouldn't have done that. I think it's ridiculous. And again, I don't hate Bernie. I wish Bernie were younger and could keep running. I think he's an important voice. I don't think he is the most productive member of Congress because I can read. But I do think that he has an ability to inspire people, inspire young people, and that's important. And I think he's a good voice, but I think you can have that good voice by being labeled as former senator from the great state of Vermont.
Yeah.
So you don't have to get out of like talking about politics. You just need to get the fuck out of the dais.
Really, I think he's just running in because he just became the senior senator of Vermont. Yeah. So he wants to have that title for a little while. A little while longer. It's
like, finally, I've been in my 80s for fucking 2 years, and I was the junior senator. This is ridiculous. I'm old, goddammit. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.